What if the most dangerous criminal on Wall Street didn't carry a gun, didn't hide in the shadows, and didn't run from the law, but wore a tailored suit, smiled politely, and shook hands with presidents? This is the story of Bernard Lawrence Madoff, a man who didn't just break the rules, he rewrote them. A man who ran the biggest Ponzi scheme in human history, while the world cheered him on. Born in 1938 in Queens, New York, Bernie Madoff wasn't born into wealth. Far from it. His father struggled with failed business ventures, and Bernie saw early on what it meant to chase the American dream. But he didn't want to chase it, he wanted to control it. After saving $5,000 from working as a lifeguard and installing sprinkler systems, Madoff launched his own investment firm in 1960, with little more than ambition and charm in his arsenal. In the fast-evolving world of finance, he quickly gained a reputation as a forward thinker. He was among the first to embrace computer-based trading, revolutionizing how Wall Street operated. He even helped shape the foundation of the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, eventually becoming its chairman. By the 1980s, Bernie wasn't just respected, he was idolized. But this is where the real story begins. Because behind all that success was a lie, growing like a virus. Madoff was running the businesses. One was real, a legitimate market-making operation. But the other, his secretive investment advisory arm, was fiction, hidden on a separate floor. This unit promised consistent above-average returns year after year, regardless of market conditions. That alone should have raised eyebrows. But people didn't question Bernie. Why would they? He wasn't flashy. He didn't flaunt his wealth. In fact, he often turned away potential investors, making his funds seem exclusive and more desirable. The psychology of the scam was brilliant. Madoff's returns weren't outrageous. They were believable, safe, reliable, and that's what made them dangerous. While the market danced through booms and busts, Bernie's clients saw smooth, upward curves. They believed they had discovered the holy grail of investing, but there was no investing. Madoff never bought a single stock. There were no trades, no real strategies, just fictional account statements. New investors' money was funneled to pay off older ones. Classic Ponzi scheme mechanics, wrapped in the illusion of stability. And no one noticed. Or if they did, they looked away. The victims were not just millionaires, they were school teachers, elderly retirees, Holocaust survivors, universities, global banks, entire charitable foundations. Some people entrusted Madoff with everything they had, life savings built over decades. And with every new deposit, the scheme grew. How could something so massive go unnoticed? That question haunted Wall Street for years. The Securities and Exchange Commission had received complaints. Repeatedly, one man, financial analyst, Harry Markopolos, spent years shouting into the void. He mathematically proved that Madoff's returns were impossible. He even wrote a detailed memo titled, "The World's Largest Hedge Fund is a Fraud," and sent it to the SEC. Because Madoff wasn't some shady outsider, he was insider royalty, a mentor, a philanthropist, a friend. He served on panels that advised regulators, he had connections, and those connections gave him cover. Then came 2008. The global financial crisis hit like a tsunami. The markets collapsed, fear spread, and investors, desperate for liquidity, turned to Madoff. One by one, they tried to withdraw their money. Over $7 billion in redemption requests came flooding in, but there was no money left. The illusion had finally outrun the truth. On December 10, 2008, Bernie confessed to his sons. "It's all one big lie," he said. His sons, both senior executives in the firm, contacted federal authorities. The next morning, Bernie Madoff was arrested, and the greatest con in Wall Street history began to unravel. The damage was immeasurable. Madoff had fabricated as much as $65 billion in fictional profits. Some investors were wiped out entirely. Others were forced back into the workforce late in life. Charities shut their doors. Lives were destroyed. But the tragedy didn't end in courtrooms. In December 2010, Mark Madoff, Bernie's eldest son, took his own life on the second anniversary of his father's arrest. Andrew Madoff, his other son, died of cancer in 2014. Ruth, Bernie's wife, became a recluse, disowned by most of her social circle. In 2009, Madoff pleaded guilty to 11 felony counts, including securities fraud, wire fraud, and money laundering. He was sentenced to 150 years in prison. The courtroom was packed with victims. Some wept, others glared. For many, no sentence would be enough. But justice took another form. A court-appointed trustee, Irving Picard, began the slow, meticulous process of recovering lost funds. Through lawsuits, settlements, and asset seizures, Picard recovered over $14 billion, one of the largest recoveries in financial history. Still, many victims never saw full restitution. Bernie Madoff died in prison in April 2021. His death brought no peace, only a reminder of what happens when arrogance, deception, and systemic failure collide. Today, Madoff's name is a cautionary symbol, a reminder that even the most trusted figures can betray us, that prestige can be a mask, that the institutions meant to protect us can fail. And when they do, the damage ripples across generations. So if someone promises you returns with no risk, if they tell you they've found a secret formula no one else has, remember this story, because the next Bernie Madoff won't look like a villain either. He'll smile, wear a suit, and offer you the world. If you found this story eye-opening, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. How do you think Madoff got away with it for so long? And if you're curious about more stories of power, deception, and downfall, check out our next deep dive on the Enron collapse, another scandal that shook the world.